Okay, hold on. You can hear my fan in the background. Let me go turn that off.
Yeah, no worries.
I live in Florida,
Okay. Okay. I'm eating.
Okay, so I put a Song of Ice and Fire, or ASOIAF / HOTD chat.
ASOIAF.
ASOIAF.
Okay, so we got a request from Eric on what should be playing in the background, so just bear with me. Also, my mom is going to come over tomorrow, and she's going to start Game of Thrones, but she does not want to watch it without me. So this is going to be a
okay then.
Let's just say that we watched the first episode of House of the Dragon, and she's like, I don't know, Taryn. I was like, okay, wait. And I showed her the first episode of Game of Thrones. She's like, oh. I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay. I'm like, yeah. She's like,
House of the Dragon pulled me in the second I saw Matt Smith and his Daemon garb marching down the streets of Flea Bottom, doing things to Grapists and that first episode for me was good. It pulled me right in.
Eric, I'm going to record her reactions. That's a great idea because I love watching those. I love watching those on TikTok. So I'm like, I'm gonna do that with my mom. I gotta give her a heads up. Mom, I'm gonna record you so she can put her eyebrows on.
I love that.
Okay. Eric requested a specific episode.
Which one?
Just bear with me. Let me see. Can you see it?
Let me see. Let's see it. Oh, are you still doing your reread? No, you're sitting there and playing the game.
Hey, you know what? I have defended my seat of power for over a day. That's something. Everybody tries to take everything from us, so it was a bloodbath the last 24 hours. They made it a player versus player event, so there was just a lot of stuff and things. Oh my god, do you see what's going on?
Oh no. Don't do that one. I've literally only watched that episode once.
Oh, okay. So my liege, like, she's head of the group. She's in the chat right now. That's Madeline. She yeah, we gotta go defend. Look, I'm currently defending right now. It's up here. It's here.
Oh my god.
They think I need an intervention. It's.
I really do. I think we need to have a discussion when you get here. when we get together in San Antonio, we need to talk.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's not bad. It's not that bad. It's not
an intervention about your addiction to this game.
It's not an addiction. I wouldn't call it an addiction.
Oh, it's definitely an addiction.
Well, she agrees. She agrees with you.
Well, Dramione kind of taken over my life, so I at least I'll at least go to bed with 1 or 2 Dramione one-shots every night.
Oh, I love me a Dramione one-shot. I haven't.
Oh yeah, there's I love getting through those because it's so fun, especially and even some of the fics, the ones that are 10 to 14 chapters long. Those are good too.
Oh, love that. Eric, do you like my shirt? Guess what the back says. You see it? The prequels were great. What game? I'm sorry, I'm new. Okay, look. It's Game of Thrones Conquest. I'm just going to give you a 411 real fast, okay? So, it's kind of like Clash of Clans, if y'all ever played that. You get, it's the map of Westeros, right? And then you try to conquer seats of power. And, you know, it took me a week to figure out that you could zoom into this map. And then you can see that like this clan right here pretty much has the entire board, but that's my clan, the Hunts. And you get a keep, you grow your keep, you produce troops, you farm for resources, and then when you're big enough, you start taking over seats of power. So basically, all the castles that are in Westeros are up for grabs at certain periods of time, and other players are like there to take them away from you, but you have an alliance, so a team that can help you do that. And then you have like opposing teams. And right now we are second to third. We're like tied for second place because there's a really big group and they have really strong players that just come and just what we call dick swing, which they just come and just attack your keeps, but they don't even take it. They just come and attack you just because they can. And it's like, I'm minding my own business. Leave me alone.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's Daenerys. Oh. No, it's just Tyrion being sad and his platinum rings.
Oh my gosh, I will never forgive D&D for making certain characters into something that they're not. Like Tyrion was not this vulnerable, like, I don't know what's going on, or I'm so innocent character. Like, he was literally, he's the worst villain of them all. He sucks ass.
One last thing I want to add. It is free to play, but it is very addicting and you want to get better faster. So you can play to get better, or sorry, pay to get better.
I know that we used to talk to Taryn a lot more before this game, and now we don't hear from Taryn that much, and we're all like, yeah, it's because she's playing the game.
And then I'll send them this morning I sent them a picture of my SOP. It's like, look, this is my house, enter please.
Oh my God.
It's fine. Put me in coach. Hey, Eric started playing. He got to like level 5 and then he quit though.
That actually sounds like a very Eric thing to do.
Well, he did the same thing.
That's pretty on brand.
He did the same thing with reading A Court of Thorns and Roses.
So what do we think about George R.R. Martin getting a little political?
Okay. I have been playing my game, so you need to tell me what happened.
I haven't read the blog post yet, but apparently he came out and was like, I don't like Donald Trump, and
oh my God.
I was like, all right, like I need to go in and read his latest blog post because apparently he like jumped all over Donald Trump, and I was like, okay, George. And then of course you had people in there like criticizing, why don't you like stop talking politics and write your damn book? And I'm like, listen, I want him to finish Winds of Winter as much as anybody, but like he's allowed to have opinions and he's allowed to talk about other things than just writing Winds of Winter. I mean, as much as I'd like to chain him to a desk and be like, you can't leave this chair until you finish this book, that's not how that works.
I haven't checked Not a Blog. He's rapid firing posting right now. This was posted on the 9th and I just didn't even see it.
Honestly, like I've been looking for, I have been checking periodically to see if he's making any more comments on House of the Dragon. But at this point, I'm like, I was expecting Winds of Winter to be announced at Worldcon. And now that it hasn't, my expectations have kind of just gone away. And I'm just, I'm just at the point where I'm not like as dedicated to reading Not a Blog anymore. I mean, I'm going to go back and read the things that I missed, but I'm not as on top of it anymore because I was like, well, he didn't announce it like I thought he would. That means that this book really, like, there's no clues or anything like that as to when it's going to be announced. It could be years, it could be never. And so I'm like, well, if it is announced and I don't see it, then it's going to be all over TikTok and I'm going to see it there anyway. So maybe I can just check Not a Blog now once every few days like I used to.
Yeah. Okay, he says politics. I could talk about the election but I think I won't. Not now, at least. Suffice to say, I am worried. Trump is the worst president in American history.
I mean, no lies are being told. No lies are being told.
I mean, it's just like
I feel like well, actually, you know what? I always feel like that's insulting to Stannis. Like I mean, and I don't even like Stannis, and I don't even think it's fair to compare him to Trump.
He goes on to say, if he gets in again, he will be worse, judging from the remarks he keeps making about the retribution and bloodbaths and the like. Okay. So did you know that for like 2 days straight on Truth Social, Trump went on rants about Taylor Swift?
Oh, I loved it. I was like, I just saw that he had posted something about like, I hate Taylor Swift, and it's been all over TikTok because everybody's been making fun of him for it. And I was like, not you, a 78-year-old man saying you hate a 34-year-old woman. Like, and not only that, but before that, posting the AI images of her and like saying that she was coming out in support of him. I'm like, dude, she lives rent-free in your mind, and you are completely obsessed with this woman. Honestly, like, I'm surprised she hasn't gotten a restraining order on this guy. It's so freaking creepy.
This has been going on since before 2016. Like, whenever he still had his Twitter, he would say shit about her. Like, dude, that's...
I mean, yeah. Eric, I would say, yeah, like Bush and Reagan, but, like, I don't see... If they had lost an election, which they didn't, or at least Bush Sr. lost one, but Bush Jr. did not. But, like, I don't see either of those presidents being like, I don't accept the election if they lost.
Al Gore won. We all know he won, but he still was conceded with grace.
I mean, even Hillary, who he called a nasty woman, was like, the way she conceded was respectful. Like, she didn't flip out. He flipped out and asked people to go freaking gather a lynch mob and storm the Capitol. Like, that's crazy.
I'm trying to learn the dance. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cats. Eat the cats.
Okay, so getting back to A Song of Ice and Fire, since that's the subject. Like, sorry, guys. I was on the political rant because George got on, like, a tiny political rant. Yeah. And I'm with George. I think that makes him even more fabulous that he's pointing that out and that he's trying to influence his following as well and saying, hey, like, this would be terrible for our country. But I digress. Let's move on.
He did say, whenever he does what he does, he always puts Winds of Winter. Well, he puts a lot of stuff in caps. But he says, I've had a lot of things on my mind of late. There are plenty to talk about. Winds of Winter! My television projects, the trip, and my visit to Tolkien's grave. My upcoming birthday, which is it this Friday or next Friday? It's this Friday, right?
Yeah.
The 20th? Yeah. What I want to do when I grow up, or rather what I want to do for the rest of my life. Okay, so he gives us like the tiniest little microscopic little crumb and like, okay, Winds of Winter, give vacation.
See, I really like that he continues to mention the Winds of Winter in most of these blog posts, though, because it says, at least to me, and maybe this is just me being delusional, that he's still, like, this is still a focus. He's not letting it go. I mean, it's still there on his mind, and he says that he's still writing it, and I want to believe him. And I mean, until he says otherwise, I'm going to believe that he's continuing to write this, and it's just a work in progress. And, you know, he'll let us know when it's done whenever. I think it's just going to be kind of like with Taylor Swift's Reputation. It's going to happen with no explanation, no clues, no none of that. It'll just be Winds of Winter.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Okay, so Low King asked if Shireen will be sacrificed for Jon's resurrection. I don't think so, because I just don't see that happening. I mean, it's obvious that George's intention, he said specifically that his intention was for Stannis always. He didn't say like, oh, maybe, or perhaps. He said his intention was always for Stannis to burn Shireen. So I think that that's going to be Stannis' thing and not Melisandre's. Yeah. Also, I just don't see, like, it just wouldn't make sense to me, her being sacrificed for Jon. It makes far more sense for Gilly's baby, who Melisandre thinks is Mance's child, to be sacrificed to save Jon, to resurrect him. And that's just the thing that I always say, is that the others are actively looking for Gilly's child. So what's going to happen when that child dies in order to bring back Jon and resurrect him? What consequences are going to be for that? I mean, the others are therefore going to be looking for Jon. And what's going to happen with that? Like, how is that all going to play out? I think that that's going to be, it's going to be an interesting thing to see. Is Ghost going to survive all of this? Is he going to die so that Jon can live? I don't know. I do like the idea. I do like the idea of Ice Dragon Jon coming back with no voice and perhaps even one red eye and one blue, or like however he comes back. I think Jon is going to be very different, and I think he's going to be a lot like the Ice Dragon. How awesome would it be with Darth Jon having red eyes to signify Ghost when Ghost is no longer with us? Like, that's the part of Ghost that's left, and his red eyes. Oh my God, how cinematic! I think at least I think at least one eye is going to be red, because it can't be. No, actually, it could be both. It could be both. We'll see what happens. I was going to say, like, having just one would be like Blood Raven, but technically Blood Raven did have two red eyes. He just, lost one of them. Yeah. Lost one of them. Oh, I want to show you this before I forget. Oh, I love it. That is gorgeous. And they light up. Oh, they light up. I used to think that Jon was going to get Dark Sister, but now I wonder if I was completely wrong, just because I don't see Jon having any other sword other than Longclaw. I think it just makes more sense for him to continue to have that particular sword. I think Dany might end up with Dark Sister, but that just goes to show how theories in this fandom, and with everybody, especially as you read the books more and more, how your theories and thoughts and ideas are constantly changing. Because I have a video right now that's blowing up with like multiple arguments in the video that I made like a year and a half ago. And even some of the stuff that I said in that video, I no longer agree with. So it's just funny how that works sometimes. Yeah, it is interesting that Dany's speech at the end of the show is like only being understood by the Dothraki. Yeah, it's her Hitler speech. I don't know. I'm with Chelsea. I'm never going to forgive them for turning her into Viserys. Like, just absolute crap. Okay, I have to mute it because I can't. No. I love her to death. But I can't. No, it's absolutely like that whole thing for me was just, I don't know. Like I said to you guys, seasons 1 through 4 of Game of Thrones for me were really good. And even some of the changes that they made, like I didn't like that they took out a lot of like the magical essence to it. I felt like they took so much out of Bran, especially because I felt like Bran was a lot cooler in the books than he was in the show. There's really nothing about Bran that was cool in the show at all. And then with Dany, they took out so much of what made her character amazing, like all of the magic and all of the substance to her character. And the dragons, as they got older, like their colors started looking a lot more faded, except for Drogon. Drogon was the only one. But even Drogon was like pretty much all black. Like you really didn't see a lot of that like bright red that was in like the membranes of his wings and like on the top of his head. Like everything was pretty much taken out. They made him look just like Balerion. Like, oh, it's just Balerion come again. I don't know. Like, so much was taken out of the show, but still, I really liked seasons 1 through 4 for what they were. I just felt that, you know what, TV is not always going to do the book's true justice. Like, a lot of stuff is going to get lost and not make it to television. So I just was able to live with that and enjoy seasons 1 through 4 for what they were. But then we got to season 5, and having read A Dance with Dragons before watching season 5, I was like, what is this? I don't see anything of A Dance of Dragons in this. Like, what am I looking at? It was completely and totally different. The only thing that they included was Cersei's walk of shame, which to me seemed disrespectful, because the only time you wanted to be canon was when there was a naked woman involved.
Okay.
That seemed really shady. I didn't like it at all. And like the whole thing, I really stopped enjoying the show after that. And it just kept getting worse and worse. And I kept hoping that maybe somehow George would come in with Winds of Winter at the clutch and they'd be able to fix it. And he never did. And then the show just crashed and burned. I would say the real crashing and burning, like where it truly became horrible, was season 7 and 8. Like, just awful. But not a whole lot can be said for 5 and 6 either. Yes, Viserion was brown, where, like, she's supposed to be a predominantly cream dragon with some gold accents. Like, very pale, very light, just very, like, girly pop gorgeous. And we got brown, like a dark bronze. Like, not even, like, if bronze and brown got together, that's the color that we got.
Oh, speaking of bronze, I'm wearing Viserion.
I'm wearing Viserion.
What?
Look at that bronze. Look at that. And the blue. We always have to shout out Hallowed Harpy in these videos. And y'all, if you have not ordered your dragon lockets or your Song of Ice and Fire lockets, please run and go do that. Chelsea actually just posted, or everybody knows her on here as Hallowed Harpy. Sorry. If you go over to Hallowed Harpy's page, she posted a video yesterday with my Dario equals Euron locket. I am so excited. I cannot make any promises. I will probably end up wearing that one every day.
I was at the locals farmers market. Eric also clipped that part where we're like twins because we're both wearing Viserion.
I know. Oh, Sky, yes. Rhaegal not being that green, like that deep green with the bronze accent. Like,
yeah.
Where was all of it? I don't know. Like, that's where I love House of the Dragon, because I felt like House of the Dragon really brought to life the dragon's colors and their different appearances and their personalities. Like, they have such personalities in House of the Dragon, which is why we grieve them as we lose them. Like, I didn't even know Sunfire, and I cried for him. I cried.
It was tragic. Back to the lockets real fast. I went to the local farmers market in downtown, and the lady who runs like a local like witchy shop, I showed her my lockets, and she's like, "Those are to die for." And I showed her Chelsea's shop on Etsy, and I networked for Chelsea, and maybe Chelsea can send her some lockets to sell in her store. But she was in awe. And then I showed her like all the ones that she's made so far. She just like, she was just like foaming at the mouth because she loved it so much. We love you, Chelsea.
Yeah, like I cannot say enough how much and I'm really excited about my A Song of Ice and Fire lockets, because I got Mad Queen Cersei, obviously a huge fan of Cersei. There she is in the background. So we've got Cersei, we've got Marjorie, we have Sansa, Tyrion, Jaime, and the 3 shrouds for her 3 children. So all of that, I need to find this artist. I'm on a mission to find them because they're not listed on Pinterest. As usual, Pinterest didn't have the artist credentials on there, but I love this image. I think that it's just, and you could really see Cersei looks just absolutely crazy in the background. So I'm super excited about that locket and my Dario equals Euron. I'm like, I can't wait.
We love our image feed.
Do we think the Red Wedding was meant to be? Personally, yes. I kind of have this like Delulu fantasy in my mind that Rob and Dany could have been like star-crossed lovers, and they just didn't meet at the right time. They never met. But like they could have been something, especially in that like when she sees him in the House of the Undying and how he just kind of looks woefully at her. I'm like, what could have been?
What could have been?
That could have been perfect. That could have been. I love Snowstorm. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Snowstorm shipper, but I also like believe with my full chest that Rob and Dany are what could have been. And it's just so freaking tragic. But I also think without these things happening, obviously this chain of events wouldn't have, like, it's a ripple effect. And so, yeah, the Red Wedding is supposed to happen because without the Red Wedding, we don't get Lady Stoneheart and we don't get some of these character arcs that we're watching happening. And I think that Lady Stoneheart is kind of a glimpse into what Darth Jon is going to partially look like. I don't think he's going to be quite as horrible, but he's going to be pretty bad. So it's giving Night's King 2.0 vibes.
I can dig it. Anything that has to deal that like revolves around Night's King 2.0, Darth Jon being the new Night's King. I eat that shit up.
And I also think, I also agree with Hallowed Harpy's theory that Jane Westerling is very likely the younger and more beautiful queen. And the more I listen to those chapters from Cersei and Jaime where they talk about her grandmother, Maggie the Frog, because it's essentially confirmed in those chapters that Maggie is in fact Jane's grandmother. Like it's very convincing. I mean, Jaime is extremely specific about it in the wording that he uses. And then it's pretty much confirmed in Cersei's chapter after that. So I believe that is her grandmother. So the idea that Jane would be the younger and more beautiful queen, it fits the most because when you think about it, Brienne is not a queen. So yes, they do call her Brienne the Beauty, but she's not a queen. Whereas Jane Westerling is a queen, and how ironic is it that Maggie the Frog is giving Cersei this prophecy that she knows will be about her own granddaughter in the future. Like, that's just, the irony of it all. And that's very much on brand with George. Like, that's not something anybody would have seen coming. Mm-hmm. Certainly not Cersei. And what is so, like, another bit of irony about it is that the reason why this all happens in the first place is because of Tywin. So Tywin being the one to orchestrate Rob's death, he actually, in doing so, orchestrates his own daughter's demise by making Jane Westerling fit this prophecy.
A lot of people think that Jane is pregnant.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't. I want it to be true. I want it to be true so bad, just because it would make me so happy. But also, like, I feel like I'm gonna have that happiness burst.
Yeah. Well, her mom did mention that she had been giving her moon tea this whole time.
Of course, her mom could have been lying. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. It's just she like disappears, so we don't know.
I agree. I think Maggie is. I think Maggie did curse Cersei. Just in my personal opinion, and it's one of those times. It's one of those rare moments in which we see that a maester was correct, because who was it that said to Cersei, Pycelle? It was Pycelle who said, it isn't whether like we can foretell our future, it's should we be foretold our future? Like, should we know these things? And Cersei like just says, oh, like that's exactly what I would expect, is a stupid answer from a stupid man. And it's like, no, this is the one time he's actually telling you the truth. Is should we really be foretold our future? Because, I mean, look at everything that's happened. Cersei is a prime example of why you shouldn't know what's going to happen to you, because, I mean, everything has fallen apart. And a lot of it is on Cersei. Like a lot of the things that are happening to her are things that she's done to herself. So I think that that's just one of those things she shouldn't have been told these things. And it's so funny that she's told that her friend is going to die, and then she's the one who does it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, you are proving Maggie right by doing these things. Like, did you not think about that? I don't know. Like, I would have thought in like my head and my own thought process is, you know, maybe I shouldn't do this because then I would be making her right. But then in Cersei's head, she's like, well, at least no one will hear it. But I don't think she had anything to worry about. I don't think she was going to tell anybody. So, but we'll never know.
Well, I hope we know soon. True. I mean,
oh yeah, Maegor and Visenya are what Cersei and Joffrey thought they were. Yeah, I don't know. Like probably Joffrey. Yeah, I mean, Joffrey honestly could have grown up to be like a Maegor, just a lot less ruthless.
I don't think Joffrey is smart enough.
I don't think he's cool enough to be Maegor. I've got to agree with you there.
I don't think Joffrey is smart enough to be a Maegor come again. He's quite stupid.
Yeah.
Maegor was smart.
Of course, Maegor also did end in a similar way. He got himself killed.
Not only killed, but killed on the throne itself.
Oh my god. I think he was pushed. I think Rhaena pushed him, which good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah, I hope she did. Rhaena's my hero, to be honest. Like, anytime I hear anybody hating on Rhaena, I'm like, shut up. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Rhaena is my lesbian queen, and I love her so much. I won't hear a word against her. Shut up. Honestly, like, I think that's probably a part of the, well, no, I think she probably got the abortion with Robert just because she hated Robert that much. I don't know why Cersei is determined to fulfill the prophecy. Like, it's almost like she's just constantly stabbing herself in the foot and just keeps going with it. Because why stop at 3 kids, or why even have 3 children to begin with? I don't know. For me, it just doesn't seem like a smart move to continue to prove Maggie right continuously over and over again. Yeah, I want the Maegor show too, Eric. I feel like the whole thing with the Conqueror show, it seems pointless to me. And if you want Visenya, then give us a Maegor show, because you'll see Visenya. She's in there.
She's there.
And you'll still be able to see a young Vhagar, because Vhagar is still young as Visenya is getting old. So, because dragons live significantly longer than people. So we would see Vhagar pre-Turkey Waddle. We would see Visenya. We would have Maegor. And I think that would be a much more interesting show. And it'd just be a lot more fun to watch that play out.
You know who I would cast as Maegor?
Who? Oh, God, no. Shut your mouth. I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because if you had your way, he would be in every single role in the show. That's why I sent you that meme of him literally playing everybody in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
And I said, yeah, see, it works. And it's rolling rubber. I'm just like, I died with the braid coming down the side. I just lost it.
Oh my God.
If y'all want to know,
I'm very excited for that whole thing to play out. I cannot wait to watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm super excited about it.
If y'all want to know who it is, it rhymes with Hamri.
No, don't.
I
I refuse to allow her to say it. I refuse. Because you're gonna get her started. You're gonna get her started, and then she'll never stop.
I have a bunch of girl Funkos over there, and it's just girl and Jennifer.
Listen, I want to figure out how Dunk and Rohan kiss too. Because I get like the description in the book, but still, he's like 3 feet taller than her.
Yeah.
So I need to understand how that's all going to work.
Okay, I got about 15 minutes left.
Yeah, so do I.
Have you been watching Rings of Power?
I have been watching it a little bit. I've been watching it a little bit because I heard that Sauron was hot, and then so I was like, okay, bet.
So Rings of Power, you have to get through the first season. The
first season was so horrible that I was just like, it was so bad.
It's hard because they're trying to do a lot of setup, and they're also trying to not make it identical to, I guess, Lord of the Rings. Like, they're trying to do their own thing, just like House of Dragons trying to do their own thing from Game of Thrones. So they're just like, we'll do a nod to it, but this is our own thing. So I get it. It was very slow. But I tell you, the second season, it's like I had the pull to watch it, and so I didn't think that, what is his name, Hellbrand, whatever his name is, with Galadriel. I didn't think twice of him. I'm like, this guy's mid. But then he turned into Sauron, the elven Sauron. I'm like, excuse me, sir. It's a blonde wig. Oh my god. And then what you said, you could. What did you say? What did you say in the text that we all just straight laughed? You could something your kitty cats.
Yeah, no. I stopped and I was like, oh wait, because I was like, Sauron can come over here and burn this up.
Well, I gotta bring him up. I'm gonna bring him up in his elven form.
Listen,
and
Eric, we are 34-year-old millennials. You got to leave us alone. When somebody puts on a white blonde wig, like a platinum wig, we get stupid. Like that's the only thing I have for you. It's never going to change. Like, it started with Legolas and Draco Malfoy, and it's never stopped.
Okay, here we go.
These movies, they know what we want. And oh yeah, no, you're right. Dunk is only like 2 feet taller than Rohan, and yet he's still a lot taller though. Like, I don't how that works out. I'm gonna
like, excuse me.
He's gorgeous. He's so freaking pretty. See, that's what I was looking for from Rings of Power, and then I wasn't seeing that in season 1. I was like, I could do without this.
Well, they had to do the build up. They had to have Halbrand and Galadriel form a relationship. He then has to deceive her. She figures out who he is, and then now they're separated, and he is now manipulating Celebrimbor. He's manipulating him into making these damn rings, and then the dwarves are getting the rings, and the Doran's like freaking corrupt as hell now. And his son, the little one, the little Doran's like, dude, this is not right. And so now he's like trying to do something about it. I'm like, it's starting to happen. They're starting to get deceived. So Celebrimbor is, I think they're really, really close to making the one ring that rules them all. And I'm going to scream.
Oh my gosh.
Because they made the 3 rings for the elves, the High King, what's his face, and Galadriel got them, and then they made 7 rings for the dwarves, and then now they're making the 9 for the men.
Yeah, Eric, like, I guess it just kind of depends on what your personal preferences are, because yes, I have seen some pretty men and some silver wigs, like
oh god, no, I can't.
Lucius Malfoy was a beautiful man in a platinum wig. Let's see. Who else was there? Obviously, Matt Smith is gorgeous. Gorgeous at all times. Harry Lloyd, I cannot say enough. I cannot say enough. Sir, like 110,000% my type. Probably like God tier in the wig for me. That's probably like my number one.
Y'all, you ready for this one? You ready for this one?
Henry
Cavill.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Henry Cavill as Geralt of Rivia. Eric, yes. Jason Isaacs as Lucius. I mean, that's pretty freaking
cool. That is a beautiful man. And he's still a beautiful man. Like, he has not stopped being gorgeous consistently.
I don't think I'm going to put Sauron as my background. One ring to rule them all. One ring to rule this. But
do we think that Stannis is going to in Winds of Winter? Yes. I think that Melisandre is going to believe that Jon is Azor Ahai. She's going to get it into her head that she was wrong, that Jon's the one, and that is why she is going to sacrifice Gilly's child in order to bring him back. She's going to accidentally create the Night's King, but she thinks she's doing the Azor Ahai thing. Stannis is going to see this happening and completely freak out. He's going to do something drastic because Stannis is going to see it like this. Okay, I didn't believe in the Azor Ahai thing before, but Melisandre did, and she thought I was special. She thought I was so special. So if she doesn't think I'm special anymore, I have nothing to me anymore. Like, all of my validation that I had was from her, and now I have nothing, so I need her to think I'm special again. So what does Stannis think that he has to do? Well, the original Azor Ahai sacrificed his niece Anissa, and his niece Anissa was his wife, the woman that he loved. And not only that, but she was a willing sacrifice, which Stannis, I don't think, is going to understand. So the only thing that he's going to see is, okay, who do I love? Well, I certainly don't love my wife. I don't have any friends. Everybody hates me. My own family wanted Renly over me. So I guess Shireen, my only child, is the one that I have to sacrifice. He will do that, realize that nothing comes of it except for maybe something really horrible, and that he's not, in fact, Azor Ahai. He's not actually special. And then I think I can just see it, and it's so poetic, really. Stannis just walking into the flames after that, being like, I'm just done. He sacrificed his brother, which was, like, the way he did it was so sneaky and awful and just evil. And then, like, all of the awful things that Stannis has done up until that point, he's going to realize were completely pointless, as well as unaliving his own child. And now it means nothing, like none of it meant anything, and it was all for nothing. So I think he's really just going to lose it and walk into the flames, which is the best possible way for Stannis to go. Goodbye, trash Stannis.
He's going to walk into the flames to the sounds of Bohemian Rhapsody. Nothing really matters.
Oh, yes, please.
Everyone can see.
Nothing really matters to me.
Please, can we get a fanfic about that, please?
I need it.
Speaking of fanfic, talk about your time at the Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm so mad too because the video that the lady got for me was not a good one. Like, it cuts off right as I'm going with the Death Eater. So I was sitting on the bench in Diagon Alley, and a Death Eater walks up to me and does the thing because I have the Dark Mark tattoo. So he does, like, the thing with the wand. And then he crooks his finger at me. And you can see it in the video where he's like, and I was like, where are we going? And he's like, he just, like, kept, like, telling me to come with him. So I get up, the video cuts off, which has me so freaking mad. But then I go with him and he takes me over to the statue of Nagini over in this like alley. And then I was looking at it and I was like, what does he want me to do? And then he like takes his hand and like goes down my arm like that. And I'm like, okay, you have been reading entirely too much fanfic, sir. And then he just like waves at me and like goes off. And I'm like, that felt very PG-13. That interaction did not feel like last year. See, last year was their first year doing the Death Eater show, and it was fun. He did like the one thing on my dark mark and then walked off. But I think that this year they figured out that a lot of women found this very hot.
A lot of women are reading Dramione.
Like, and then like when he took his hand just went like that, I was like, okay.
Well,
what are we? I literally wanted to ask him and be like, what are we? Like
we have been sharing.
Clarify to me our relationship right now.
I need clarification right now.
I need to know what we are. I need to know what we are.
I think you and I and our mutual Kayla have been put on Death Eater TikTok, Death Eater thirst trap, if you will. And boy, they know we read Dramione and they read Dramione and they're like, we know, you know, we know. So
yeah.
we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, and you're gonna like it. And I would melt in a puddle and cease to just exist.
I told you, like, I was already like, okay, so they had this alcoholic drink there called Ghoul Juice, and it was so good. And at that point, I was about 3 Ghoul Juices in. And so I was already a little tipsy. And so he did that, and I was like, I'm just gonna go right here. I'm just gonna melt right here because, like, wow. And
you want to marry me?
You know, it's just like some like super nerdy guy underneath that hood, and this is like him living his best life because he knows what he's doing, and it's just all in good fun. But it definitely, like, I was like, what are we?
I need to know what is our relationship status right now. I need to change my relationship status right now. I need to know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Eric, I was genuinely curious as to where we were going. Like, I was like, are we going on an adventure? Like, what's happening right now? So I just walked over there and yeah.
All right, you have a question?
Let's see. Oh yeah, I know that too. Like, but like, there's so many other good fics. Like, I love Manacled, and Manacled is amazing. But there are so many other great Dramione fics that I cannot say enough good things about. There's Bring Him to His Knees. There's In Silence and Submission. Gosh, there are so many. Damaged Goods.
When
like,
people say that they're getting into their
Remain Nameless is one of my favorite Dramione fics. I love Remain Nameless, and it's definitely more like sticking to the canon accuracy. So it like definitely picks up where they left off, except for without that, without the like 19 years later. This is like literally right after the war instead. And I think it's like 5 years later that we're picking up with them. And Hermione and Ron have broken up. Like, they just didn't work out because they never were going to work out. They didn't have kids. Ron ends up hooking up with somebody else and being in another relationship. And Hermione and Draco meet at this Muggle cafe. And it turns into like an enemies to friends to lovers. Probably my favorite Dramione fic would be Remain Nameless. And I really also like, if you're looking for like a darker fic, Secrets and Masks. I love Secrets and Masks. It's one of those that like made me cry, scream, throw up, like so upset, but still so good.
Hey, Simile. I feel bad. I feel genuinely bad for someone who's getting into Dramione and Manacled is their first thing that they read. I'm just like, why don't you start with something lighter? I have a few recommendations. Yeah,
I love Manacled for what it is. I will never say anything bad about Manacled because it's so beautifully well written. It's an amazing story.
I agree.
I wouldn't call it my favorite. I wouldn't say that it's one that I love. It's one that I admire. And I think that like, it's just a very well written story. It's just not my personal favorite Dramione just because of all the trauma and all the pain that's in there. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
Sheila, you abbreviated it, and I don't know the title offhand. I know it's something like Finding Love in a Zombie Apocalypse or something. It's something like that. That is on my TBR. I am still currently trying to read Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. It is so cutesy. It is very, very cutesy. I love it.
I really like a toxic Draco too. Like I'm reading right now on the nature of daylight, and that is a very, very toxic Draco. And I love that there are 2 volumes to that storyline. So there's on the nature of daylight, and then this bitter end. And I am so excited to get through these 2. On the nature of daylight so far has been very, very good. Another very well written fanfic. I love it.
You don't really need to pick up Harry Potter. If you have watched the video, if you watch the movies, you can read Dramione.
And in all honesty, like for me, I mean, a lot of it does have to do with J.K. Rowling and how she handled that whole, like everything that comes out of her mouth is so freaking horrible that it's like I can't even read the Harry Potter books anymore without it being tainted. And then there's so much in there that's very controversial. And I feel like she didn't understand that her readers were growing up as she was writing these books. And she kept them in a way that, but it's like she didn't know how to write past that point. Like she couldn't write complex characters. Yeah. She couldn't write story arcs. She made certain characters who were supposed to be the good guys look like really bad people. Like Dumbledore and Ron are supposed to be the good guys, and yet they come off consistently in the books looking like terrible, terrible people. Yep. And like Snape is supposed to have had this this redemption arc, and yet he never did. And Snape was always horrible, even to the end. And yet it's supposed to be like, oh, he was doing all this stuff behind the scenes, so you should just forgive him for all the child abuse.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
None of it made any sense. I don't really think that she knows how to write as well as people give her credit for. The first few books were very, like, they were great for what they were. And then after that, it's like, I don't know. I feel like she didn't know really what to do with it. And what she put out there had so many plot holes and nothing really made sense that it wasn't really that great. So, and then again,
what they've done with Theo, they made Theo a pretty likable character.
Oh yeah, I think that the reason why she hates fan fiction so much is because the fanfic authors are bringing so much diversity, are bringing like they're giving the LGBTQIA plus community like into their stories, and that's not something that she ever wanted to do. She says after the fact, after the books are already written, that Dumbledore was gay. Well, where was that in your story? Because I didn't see it. I never saw it.
They did it in Fantastic Beasts. That was the scene.
And that's a movie. It's a they're movies, and they're like terrible movies at that. Like they're really bad movies.
And I love that Universal is doing a whole section for Fantastic Beasts. And I'm living for it because it was such a horrible movie. But they're also including Ministry of Magic, which I'm super stoked about.
Well, yeah, I agree, Sky, and then it's also how she says things has character names like Cho Chang, and doesn't think anything about giving characters names like that, or any of her characters who are people of color in her books are pretty much non-important parts of the story and don't really have much of a storyline at all. I don't know, I didn't like how they did any of it. How she chose to a lot of things that she wrote now are just very uncomfortable to look at. It's looking at it through an adult lens. It's like, wow, the things that you said and the things that you did, I don't, Yeah, Cho Chang, seriously. And then the relationships that she wrote, in all honesty, I feel like JK pushed me away from the Harry Potter community and made it so I couldn't enjoy it anymore. And then Dramione, as well as Marauders fanfic, because I love the fanfic authors who wrote about the Marauders and gave you that backstory. All the young dudes that Taryn bound for me.
I found the piece right over here.
All the Young Dudes is such a brilliantly written story. And it's the story that everybody needed and wanted. And I'm so glad that we got that. It had this backstory on the Marauders and who they were. I think that was great, and that Dramione and Marauders fanfiction artists and authors have brought me back into the Harry Potter universe when I felt like I was done with that.
Yeah, it's actually, my account started as a Harry Potter account.
Yeah.
And it also, it was at the height of Draco talk. It was just such a fun time to live in. Because it was during the pandemic, we're all stuck in our house, and then here comes Draco talk. And I'm like, excuse me, hello. And I didn't even know about Dramione until it started becoming a thing on TikTok. And it's been around since, AO3's been around for a very long time. But the height of Draco talk introduced me to Dramione. And I never really picked up a Dramione until you really suggested, like, hey, let's start it. Because I was scared. Like a lot of other people are scared to start it because they want to start with Manacled. And that's why I made that comment earlier. It's a very heavy fic. So some little fluff. I think the first one I read was Damaged Goods. Damaged Goods got me hooked. That first chapter.
I want people to start with lighter fics. I want people to start with lighter fics like that. Like, don't start. I do not recommend start. I recommend that everybody in the Dramione universe read Manacled at some point because it's brilliantly written. But do not start with Manacled because that's a very, very heavy read, and it may even throw you off Dramione. You may not want to read any more of it after that. I would start with Damaged Goods, Remain Nameless. Remain Nameless is probably one of the best ones to start with, just because it's another very well-written fic. It has a happily ever after, but there's a lot of angst. It's a very, very slow burn. Like, it takes them a long time to get to the point where they are together as a couple, which is realistic considering who he was to her in school, what they went through in the war, and everything that they had to go through, and all of the PTSD and trauma that Draco is still experiencing, as well as Hermione still experiencing her own PTSD. And it's a very great story, and it's definitely one that I would recommend people start with. Just don't start with something that's going to, like, destroy you. Because I feel like Manacled is not the one that I would begin with.
All right. Well, I have to hop off.
Yeah, same. I got to get going.
I think we can talk about Dramione for hours.
Oh my gosh. Like, honestly, I could do an entire live just for Dramione. I feel like we should.
I think we should. We'll get Chelsea on here because she's read Manacled. We can get Eric on here. He's read the first chapter of Damaged Goods.
Yes.
I just always have to say that.
Thank you everybody for joining. Unfortunately, Eric is working, and Hallowed Harpy is just not feeling her best today. Probably all that working on the lockets.
Eric, are you sure you read Manacled? Because I don't hear you bitching enough about it. I think you read like half of it.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely one that Eric would have been like, I'm abandoning this. I'm done.
Yeah, so just, we're the Wicked Witches of Westeros. Please check out our page.
Go like us on our individual pages, Lady Blackfire, Lady Zombie Taryn, Eric Not Eric, Hallowed Harpy. Don't forget to subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Like, share, subscribe.
For all of your Song of Ice and Fire, and for me, Dramione content as well. But thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one. Bye, y'all.
Bye.